Have you ever wondered why some people walk into a room and instantly radiate confidence, while others shrink into the background, even if they are equally talented? What is that invisible force that makes one person stand tall and another doubt every step? The truth is, confidence isn't something you're born with or something reserved for a lucky few. It's a skill, a mindset, a way of thinking that anyone can build. And here's the good news: it doesn't require years of training or waiting for the perfect moment. With the right mindset shifts, you can unlock a level of confidence that feels unshakable, even in the most uncertain situations. Think about this. How many times have you held back? Not because you weren't capable, but because your mind convinced you that you weren't ready. How many opportunities have slipped through your fingers because of hesitation, self-doubt, or the constant thought of, what if I fail? If you're honest with yourself, you'll realize that the biggest enemy of your confidence has never been the world around you. It's the quiet voice in your own head, the way you frame your thoughts, the meaning you attach to situations, and the story you tell yourself about who you are. These are the things that either build confidence or destroy it. Here's the key: when you shift your mindset, everything changes. You begin to see challenges as opportunities instead of threats. You stop asking, am I good enough? And start asking, what can I learn from this? You move from fear to courage, from hesitation to action. That's the power of reframing your mind. It doesn't just give you confidence for a single moment, it transforms the way you live. Science backs this up too. Human psychology shows that our brains are wired to protect us from danger, which is why fear and doubt show up so strongly. But the same brain can be trained to respond differently. Every thought you repeat creates a pathway in your mind. If you constantly think, I can't do this, your brain strengthens that pathway until it feels like truth. But if you replace it with, I will try, I will grow, I will figure it out, your brain builds new pathways that feed confidence instead of fear. The difference isn't in your ability, it's in your mindset. Imagine how your life would look if confidence was no longer a question mark. How would you act if you trusted yourself completely? Would you speak up in meetings instead of staying quiet? Would you take the leap on that dream project instead of postponing it? Would you finally stop comparing yourself to others and start living your own journey with pride? The moment you shift your mind, the answers change. You don't wait for confidence to arrive. You create it. And here's something powerful to remember: confidence is not about pretending to be perfect or having all the answers. True confidence is the courage to show up even when you don't know what the outcome will be. It's about trusting yourself enough to take action despite the uncertainty. That's why mindset shifts matter. Because when you change the way you see yourself, the world changes how it sees you. Now, if you stay with me until the end of this video, you'll discover not just one, but several mindset shifts that can literally triple your confidence. These are not theories or complicated steps. They are practical, simple, and deeply transformational. By the time you finish, you'll understand how to silence the voice of doubt, how to reframe failure into fuel, and how to tap into a confidence that no circumstance can take away. This is your reward: the knowledge and tools to stop waiting and start living with power, strength, and self-belief. So ask yourself right now, are you ready to let go of the story that keeps you small? Are you ready to embrace the shifts that will free you from fear and doubt? Because once you make this decision, there's no turning back. This is where your transformation begins. The first shift that can transform your confidence is moving from self-criticism to self-compassion. Most people think confidence comes from being tough on themselves, from never making mistakes, from holding impossible standards. But the truth is, harsh self-criticism only feeds fear. It creates a cycle where every small error feels like proof that you're not good enough. Real confidence begins when you treat yourself like someone worth supporting instead of someone worth tearing down. Think of it this way: if your best friend failed, would you call them worthless? No, you'd remind them of their strengths, you'd encourage them to keep going. But when it comes to ourselves, we often forget this simple truth. We speak words to ourselves that we would never speak to anyone else. Confidence grows when you break that cycle and replace self-criticism with compassion. When you say, I didn't get it right today, but I'm still capable, I'm still learning, I'm still worthy. Psychologists call this a reframe. And reframing is powerful because it doesn't deny reality, it changes perspective. Instead of seeing failure as a personal flaw, you see it as feedback. Instead of labeling yourself as weak, you recognize yourself as a work in progress. This small mental shift creates an enormous emotional shift. It turns shame into strength. Confidence is not about pretending you never fall. It's about knowing that even when you do, you can rise again. And the moment you start treating yourself with kindness instead of criticism, you begin to build an inner foundation so strong that no rejection, no failure, no opinion can shake it. That's where real confidence is born. The second mindset shift that triples confidence is moving from comparison to self-focus. One of the biggest thieves of confidence is constantly measuring your worth against someone else's highlight reel. Social media, success stories, even the achievements of friends and coworkers can trick your mind into believing you are always behind, always less, always lacking. But the truth is, comparison blinds you to your own progress. It makes you forget that confidence is not about being better than others. It's about being better than you were yesterday. When you shift your focus inward, everything changes. Instead of asking, am I as good as them? You start asking, am I growing compared to who I was last week, last month, last year? That single question rewires the envy to empowerment, because you can't always control the path of others, but you can always control your own effort, your own habits, your own choices. This shift taps into a deeper part of human psychology. Motivation thrives on progress. Even small steps forward release energy and hope inside you. And when you celebrate those steps, no matter how small, you feed your confidence like fuel. Confidence is not built by one massive leap, built by countless small victories stacked one on top of another. So stop giving away your power by measuring your life against someone else's journey. Their path is theirs. Yours is yours. Focus on your lane, your pace, your progress. Every time you choose self-focus over comparison, you reclaim your energy, your joy, and your belief in yourself. That's when confidence stops being fragile, it becomes unstoppable. The third mindset shift that unlocks confidence is replacing fear of failure with a focus on learning. Most people hold back not because they lack potential, but because they are terrified of making mistakes. They think one wrong step will define them, so they stay frozen, waiting for certainty. But here's the truth: failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. Every confident person you admire today has failed more times than most people have even tried. When you train your mind to see failure as feedback, everything changes. Instead of saying, I failed, you begin to say, learn. That small adjustment in language rewires the brain to process setbacks as steps forward, not dead ends. Psychologists call this a growth mindset, the belief that ability can be developed through effort and practice. With this mindset, mistakes no longer shrink your confidence, they expand it. Why? Because every mistake holds a lesson that makes you wiser, stronger, and better prepared. Think about it: a child learning to walk doesn't give up after falling 100 times. They don't label themselves a failure. They keep trying until walking becomes natural. The same principle applies to your goals, your career, your dreams. Confidence doesn't come from avoiding failure. It comes from surviving it and realizing it didn't break you. So don't wait for the path to be perfect. Step boldly, knowing that even if you stumble, you will rise sharper than before. Every setback is simply shaping you into someone more capable. And the more you embrace failure as a teacher, the faster your confidence multiplies. Fear shrinks when faced, and courage grows each time you act despite it. The fourth mindset shift that builds unstoppable confidence is choosing self-talk that empowers rather than destroys. The voice inside your head is the loudest influence in your life. It is with you every second of every day, and it shapes how you see yourself more than any external opinion ever could. Sadly, most people let that voice become their biggest enemy. They replay words of doubt, not good enough, I always mess things up, I'll never make it. And over time, the brain believes those lies, turning them into reality. But here's the breakthrough: you control that voice. You can decide what it says, and when you shift it, everything in your life shifts with it. Instead of saying, I can't handle this, start saying, I am stronger than I think. Instead of whispering, don't belong here, declare, I am growing into this space every day. These aren't empty affirmations, they are instructions to your subconscious mind. Psychology shows that repeated thoughts carve pathways in the brain. The more often you repeat empowering beliefs, the more automatic they become until confidence feels natural. Think of it like reprogramming a computer. If you keep installing doubt, your system crashes. But if you install courage, gratitude, and belief, your system runs with power. Words are that powerful, they can break you or they can build you. So the challenge is simple. Guard your inner dialogue like your life depends on it, because it does. Talk to yourself as you would to a loved one you want to see succeed. Build yourself up, don't tear yourself down. Confidence grows when the voice in your head becomes your greatest ally. And once that shift happens, the world outside begins to respond differently to you as well. The fifth mindset shift that can triple your confidence is embracing progress over perfection. One of the biggest traps people fall into is waiting until everything feels ready, flawless, and certain before they act. But perfection is a moving target. It never comes. Those who succeed are not the ones who wait for the perfect moment. They are the ones who dare to move forward, even when they feel uncertain, even when the timing isn't ideal. Confidence is built through action, not by overthinking. Every small step forward proves to your brain that you are capable. And that proof begins to rewrite your identity. You no longer see yourself as someone who hesitates. You see yourself as someone who takes action despite the fear. That is where unshakable confidence is born. Think about it. No child learns to walk without falling. They stumble, they wobble, they fall hundreds of times. But they don't quit. They don't think, maybe walking isn't for me. They simply keep trying until walking becomes natural. That same principle applies to every area of your life. Mistakes are not signs of failure. They are proof of growth. Each one makes you stronger, smarter, and more resilient. When you adopt this mindset, you stop fearing failure and start seeing it as feedback. You stop waiting for everything to be perfect and start creating progress with what you have right now. And every time you move forward, your confidence grows, not because you're flawless, but because you dared to try. So don't wait for the perfect chance, the perfect plan, or the perfect version of yourself. The perfect timeline is an illusion. The real power is in starting today with courage, with imperfection, and with faith that each step will take you closer to the person you're meant to be. The sixth mindset shift that can transform your confidence is choosing courage over comfort. Growth never happens in the safe zone. Comfort feels good for a moment, but it slowly drains your potential. Courage, on the other hand, feels uncomfortable at first, but it always leads to strength, breakthroughs, and freedom. Every time you step outside your comfort zone, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than fear. Confidence doesn't mean you never feel afraid. It means you've learned to act even when fear is present. The difference between people who achieve extraordinary things and those who remain stuck isn't talent. It's the willingness to face discomfort. Fear whispers, what if you fail? But courage answers, what if this is the step that changes everything? That shift in perspective turns hesitation into action. Think about the first time you tried something new, maybe speaking in public, starting a project, or reaching out to someone you admired. Your heart raced, your hands shook, but once you took that step, something powerful happened. You realized the fear wasn't as strong as you imagined. That's how courage works. It shrinks fear by confronting it. When you repeatedly choose courage over comfort, you build a record of victories. Your brain begins to associate action with empowerment instead of danger. Soon, what once terrified you becomes natural and you're ready for even greater challenges. That is how true confidence multiplies. It grows every time you act in spite of fear. So remember this, comfort keeps you the same, but courage transforms you. The life you dream of will not be found in the safe zone. It is waiting just outside the walls of your comfort, where courage leads and confidence is born. The final mindset shift that triples your confidence is choosing progress over perfection. Perfection is an illusion. It keeps you trapped, waiting for the right moment that never comes. Progress, however, is real. Every small step you take, no matter how imperfect, builds momentum. Confidence is not born from flawless execution. It is built through consistent forward movement. When you stop demanding perfection, you free yourself from the chains of fear and self-doubt. You no longer wait until you feel ready. You start, you learn, you grow. Each attempt, whether successful or not, becomes proof that you are moving forward. This simple shift rewires your brain to see effort as victory, and with every effort, your confidence grows stronger. Think about it. Every confident person you admire didn't start perfectly. They stumbled, they made mistakes, they adjusted, and they kept going. The reason they stand tall today is not because they avoided failure, but because they refused to let failure stop them. That is the mindset of progress. It turns setbacks into stepping stones. Confidence blossoms when you give yourself permission to be imperfect but determined. You begin to see progress as power, not perfection as the prize. And soon you realize the secret. It's not about reaching a flawless version of yourself. It's about becoming a stronger version, one step at a time. So stop waiting for the perfect words, the perfect timing, or the perfect plan. Start where you are with what you have. Embrace the messy beginnings because they lead to remarkable endings. Confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you build, and progress is the foundation. You've just heard the truth about building unstoppable confidence through small shifts in your mindset. Now, I want to ask you, what's the one belief that has been holding you back? And which mindset shift are you ready to start applying today? Share it in the comments because your story might inspire someone else who needs to hear it. If this message spoke to you, imagine what more is waiting in the next video. Don't just listen, be part of this journey. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and let's keep growing together. Remember, every step you take here brings you closer to the confident, unstoppable version of yourself.